I have a question.
Yeah.
Lindsay and Haley, when you guys were first learning about sensory things, because we adults learn a lot of stuff too, what was one of the questions that you first had when you were learning about
Oh, that's a good
That
question.
is a good one.
I think, well, one of the things that I am learning is that because we all have different sensory needs, right? And that's kind of what Becky and Lindsay explained was that um, different things feel differently to different people. So for some people, a room may feel really, really painfully loud, and other people will be like, "Can you turn up the volume?" Right? And so one of the things for me as a mom and as a teacher was figuring out how do I help balance everyone's needs? Because my daughter is a sensory seeker. She loves noisy, loud, busy, flashing, spinny. And I am not a sensory seeker. I have a really hard time in rooms that are too loud or there's too much movement. And so, how I don't know, this isn't necessarily a question you can answer, but a question for me is how do I make sure that she has what she needs, but I'm not getting overwhelmed and grumpy and frustrated at the same time. And I think it happens in classrooms too, and maybe on play dates also with friends, because you may be thinking that something is perfectly fine, whereas your friend is like, this is too loud and too much. And it's hard to think about what other people might be feeling in the same situations.
it?
So I don't, that's not really a question, but that's kind of one of my.
No, I
feelings.
really, really love that thought, Haley. And I don't know that there's an answer that applies to everyone all the time. What I love about what you said was that you understand the needs of your daughter and maybe your daughter's friends and the other people around you. You're talking about those things, which sets the foundation to be able to say, this is too much for my body. And then you can make a plan together with your friend or your daughter or your playmate to figure out how you can be friends and be different.
Yeah. And you know, one of the other things that I realized is that sometimes I could be feeling grumpy or frustrated or annoyed and be getting short and frustrated with my kids or with my students or with my husband or with anyone. And then I realized that my socks are wet.
Mhm.
That really the issue isn't what anyone's doing, it's that I am so bothered by the fact that I walked through wet grass and now my socks are wet that I'm having a hard time concentrating and being a kind person because my socks are wet.
Mm.
So that's one of the other things that I learned, that it's helpful to realize, to stop and be like, why am I feeling so agitated right now? And sometimes it has nothing to do with what other people are doing. It has more to do with like sensory stuff. Lindsay, have you kind of felt similar things?
Yes. So actually, I always thought I was a sensory seeker, and I am. But I was actually really interested to learn that you can change throughout the day. Like your needs can change throughout the day. So even though I am a sensory seeker most of the time, sometimes I need things to be quiet and calm. And learning that you can fluctuate all throughout the day was a major light bulb moment for me.